Hello and welcome to Positively United. Today, Saturday, the 28th of February, 2026. In this video, I'm going to give you what I think will be Michael Carrick's starting 11 against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford tomorrow, and I'll give you what my starting 11 would be because they will be different. But before I do, apologies for not producing videos for the last couple of days. The day job has just been incredibly busy over the last couple of days. No, I don't do this for a living, believe it or not. 55 followers isn't really enough to give up your day job for. So, the job has to come first sometimes, and it will do for quite some time. So apologies for the fact there wasn't a video over the last 2 days. I'll try and do better in the upcoming days. Results have gone pretty good for United, I suppose, this weekend. Aston Villa losing on Friday night was particularly good for us because it means if we win tomorrow, we will go third. We would be equal on points with Villa, but we would have a better goal difference. Now, I've noticed that a few YouTubers, perhaps the obvious ones, have been saying it doesn't matter if United finish third. It doesn't matter as long as they qualify for the Champions League, and it shows how our standards have fallen if we're happy with third. Could you just show a little bit of context? Would we have been happy with third at the height of Ferguson's supreme powers? Probably not. Third this season will be nothing short of a minor miracle. If you consider the disruption to the season caused by Amorim's completely misplaced egotism and self-assurance that led him to stick rigidly to a system that clearly wasn't right for the players and exiled a player as excellent as Kobbie Mainoo and produced the football that we were playing up until the time he was sacked. If you consider that that was the start of our season, and in fact didn't end until early January, we were 11 points behind Aston Villa when Amorim was sacked. And now we're on the cusp, the verge of catching them up completely. I'm sorry, that's a hell of an achievement. And if we finish the day third tomorrow, I'll be cheering. I wish some other people who claim that they are United fans could also rejoice in success, because for Manchester United this season, third will be success. And by the way, if we were to finish third this season, and you look at the two teams who will presumably finish ahead of us, Manchester City and Arsenal, and you consider the way they've been playing this season, we're not that far away from mounting a Premiership challenge of our own. And if we get the summer right, if we buy the right players, and most importantly, we get the choice of coach right, I think we can put a really good effort in next season into putting a Premiership winning challenge together. I really do. Don't think we're that far away. Those people who win their subscriptions and have made lots and lots of money out of downplaying the club and saying it's finished. Remember, there are people out there who say Manchester United is finished. It'd be nice to see those words rammed down their throat if we win tomorrow and we move up into third. You never know in football. We could lose tomorrow, of course. It's a football match. But the mere fact that we're knocking on the door is actually really great news. And then to say that if we finish third, that it wouldn't be an achievement, or it wouldn't be an achievement worth celebrating. Ridiculous nonsense. If you can't celebrate your team doing better than anybody thought that it would do, then I think you're following the wrong sport. Anyway, let's get to business. Let's talk about the game tomorrow, the starting 11, which I think Carrick will play. I am tempted to leave. That's the team that started the last game against Everton. Lamon's in goal. Well, he's going nowhere, is he? Shaw, Maguire, Yoro, Dalot across the back. Mainu and Casemiro in midfield. Cunha, Fernandes, Diallo as the attacking midfielders, and Mbomo as the most attacking player, not quite a centre forward, not quite a 10. You know what I mean? The front three of Cunha, Mbomo and Diallo were incredibly flexible in the game against Everton, and you saw Diallo up front, you saw Cunha up front, you saw Mbomo up front. And none of it really worked, in my opinion. And it wasn't a great success in the first half against West Ham. So I think Carrick will make the change this time. And I think what he'll do is he'll take off Diallo, and Šeško will play from the start. I really think he'll do it tomorrow. Okay, he's now likely not to, isn't he? But I think he will. I think Šeško will start. I think Ahmad, who didn't have his best game against Everton, I don't think, by quite some distance, I think he'll be on the bench. It doesn't mean to say that Diallo won't play. I think he'll definitely play. But I think Šeško will start. And that's what I think. That's what I think Carrick will do. I think he'll leave the rest of the team alone. We know that all the evidence points to the fact that he doesn't like making team changes. He likes a settled 11. I'm in two minds about that, if I'm honest. I really like it in one way because, to be honest with you, it's back to traditional football. Hey, you know, it's only over the last 20 years or so, or 15 years or so, that teams have had these rotating first teams. And, you know, I remember watching United right the way through the 90s. And we played the same 11, sort of, every game. Whether it was Premier League, a European competition, usually the European Cup or the Champions League, or FA Cup. Probably it was only the League Cup, whatever it was called that at the time. Was it the Milk Cup? Probably was the Milk Cup in the early 90s. I do remember. Do you remember? Well, you might probably not remember, but I certainly remember when the League Cup was called the Milk Cup. Before the game, two representatives brought an enormous bottle of milk onto the pitch, which was nearly always greeted with a chant of explicit abuse. Seems like a simpler and much more naive time than we live today. Sorry, excuse me. I'm completely going off the course of this video. That's the team I think Carrick will choose. I would go further, but you know that's been me over the last few weeks. I seem to be completely on a limb here. I didn't think Yoro was particularly good against Everton. I thought he had a really shaky start, a really shaky first 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I thought he was average. So I must admit, I would not be playing Yoro. I would be playing Aiden Heaven. And I think, obviously, as a consequence, as Heaven tends to play on the left, I'd swap him around with Maguire. And it's interesting, Maguire, who has been playing on the right of the centre-back partnership, because, of course, he's been partnered up with Martinez. But, by the way, I'm assuming Martinez will not be fit for tomorrow. I think that's been announced, hasn't it? And Maguire had a great game against Everton, but he's been playing really, really well on the right side of that centre-back partnership. So I think bringing Heaven in the team would put Maguire back to where he's been really, really excellent in the Carrick era. Maino and Casemiro I'm going to leave alone. By the way, I would drop Shaw if I could. But we've got absolutely nobody to replace him, have we? In the absence of Dorgu. And Harry Amas, he's injured, but he's on loan too. So, yeah, there's no one to replace Shaw. Dalot, again, I wouldn't mind dropping Dalot and seeing how Mazraoui performs, but one change in the back four is probably enough, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm leaving the back four alone apart from Yoro coming out and Heaven coming in, but that's it. Back four of Dalot, Maguire, Heaven, Shaw. Maino and Casemiro, they obviously stay the same. A little bit of a rumour tonight that Maino might be injured. I really hope that isn't true. Really hope that isn't true. Now, the next, Cunha, Fernandes and Mbeumo is a given, isn't it? Šeško is. I completely agree with Carrick. If he brings him in, Šeško should definitely play this game. So that's my starting 11. Lamans, Dalot, Maguire, Heaven, Shaw, Maino, Casemiro, Mbeumo, Fernandes, Cunha, Šeško. And as I said, the only other change I would personally make is thinking about replacing Dalot with Mazraoui, but it's probably not going to happen, and it probably shouldn't if, like me, Carrick decides that Heaven should be playing instead of Yoro. How will the game end? Will it end with that team? Well, of course not. It won't, and I fully expect to see Ahmad come on in the second half. Who he would replace at that time, I don't know, but maybe Mbeumo, maybe Cunha, maybe even Šeško. Who knows? But I'm pretty certain he'll come on. It should be a fascinating game tomorrow. I'm a bit surprised people are talking about it as if it's an absolute pushover for United. I saw somebody just say it should be a 4-0 win. Really? We are aware that Crystal Palace won their last Premier League game. They beat it's Wolverhampton Wanderers, but they beat them 1-0. The last Premier League game before that was obviously they lost at against Burnley 3-2, really bad defeat. But I'm actually looking at the last few games. They beat Brighton at Brighton. Yes, they lost at Burnley at home. They've won against Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. So it's 2 wins and a defeat in the last 3. I mean that. Okay, they've lost the game, but they've won 2. Doesn't feel like a 4-0 win to me, the game tomorrow against Palace. They won their UEFA Conference League game on Thursday night, and granted, if we look at their previous record of playing a game after they played a Thursday night game in Europa League, they tend to find the following game a bit tough. They tend to run out of legs. They tend to look a bit fatigued, and that's not just a criticism that's unique to Palace. That's happened to Man United in the past, where we played Thursday night games in the Europa League and have looked, we've suffered at the weekend. So yes, you'd hope that Palace tire in the second half, very much like the game at Selhurst Park earlier this season where we won 2-1. They'd played on the Thursday night in the Europa League. Looked pretty good in the first half. We were certainly the weaker of the two teams in the first half. Second half completely reversed because Palace just kind of like became ghosts. They totally ran out of energy. It's almost like they weren't there. It was really noticeable, and I'm hoping that's going to happen at Old Trafford tomorrow. What I'd really like to see at Old Trafford tomorrow is us getting off to a fantastic start. Wouldn't it be great to have a goal in the first 15 or 20 minutes? Impose ourselves on the game. Really, really impose our personality on the game tomorrow. That would be really wonderful to see. And I genuinely believe that playing Šeško up front will help in that. I really do. The sort of revolving number 9 that we've been playing over the last several games, it works against some teams, but I think it makes us look really weak up front in other games. Game against West Ham, game against Everton, I don't think it worked. What worked was when Šeško came on, and that really did work in 2 games. So let's hope we see it tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow I'll certainly have a video out tomorrow. I'll certainly do a player ratings after the game tomorrow. I might do one other video tomorrow, depends on time and all that sort of stuff, but definitely a player ratings video tomorrow. But until then, we're playing at home. It's not going to be the pushover that I think some people think it's going to be, but I do hope for a win against Palace. So until we see each other tomorrow, which will be after the game, let's be positively united. And let's hope we win and get that 3rd place that's been up for grabs now for weeks.